Len, you have over 20 years experience of directing digital strategies within the pharma industry. What has changed during these years?
I started on my digital journey around the mid-90s. And in the mid-90s, I think we entered what was, still is, the classic Gartner hype cycle. So at the beginning, I think, the expectations of digital were completely unrealistic. Everything was hyped. We expected change to happen immediately. And I remember going to a conference in London. It was the first pharma digital marketing conference in Europe. And we were presented with all this new stuff, what the internet could do. And I remember leaving the conference. As I left, I spoke to many people. And there were a lot of participants who thought that, for example, the sales representative would no longer be needed by the industry within a couple of years. But of course, this didn't happen. So we were in this first phase of euphoria, but then as the internet didn't deliver on what we believed would happen, we entered this, what Gartner hype cycle calls the trough of despair. This was towards the end of the 90s. This was a pretty depressing time. It was a very tough time, certainly for me, but it didn't last very long. And then around the beginning of the 2000s, we started to see a lot of initiatives actually delivering results, measurable results, successes, increasing productivity. And this was the time where expectations were realistic. And we started to see a lot more support from the industry coming through. And this is the time for me, certainly it was a very successful time. It was a time when I launched some of my first early initiatives and started to use social media quite a lot as well. And I think that we've also seen, this new phase, continues to this day. It hasn't really stopped. In fact, I think it's accelerating. And we can see today if I just think about the pharmaceutical industry, this is reflected in the attitudes of the pharmaceutical industry towards digital. There are hardly any pharmaceutical companies that don't have senior executives responsible for digital positions. And if you think, and you look to see where digital is used by the pharma industry, there's hardly an area where that's not the case. And I'm not just talking about sales and marketing. Just think about research. Just think about medical departments. It's everywhere. So the differences are huge, and it hasn't stopped. And I don't know where the end will be, but it continues to evolve.